I've written this book to encourage people to take the risk and go for it, because whenever I look back, even though it was the most difficult times of my life, for me, it's a bigger risk not taking the jump. Hi, and welcome back to the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. My name is Matthew Toman, and I am your co-host for today, joined with
Sharon Kirkpatrick.
At the Mindset and Marketing Podcast, we focus on everything mindset and everything marketing, two of the most important things that you need to master to achieve everything in your life, from my opinion. So, how have you been? I feel like we haven't spoken in ages.
I know, we were so used to being together in London for a week. And
I know,
now
me and
it's
Sharon,
like,
yeah.
what the heck?
What's going on? We're back being separate. We were in London for the past week. I'm having one of those mornings, by the way. I'm just getting used to this new studio. Our logos should be on these screens. My earpods should have been charged. But I'm actually just like trying to work everything. I'm like, what's going on? Is everything recording? Because it's somewhere new, you're trying to like figure out how to do it. But London was absolutely brilliant. We just spent I was in London for almost 3 weeks, and Sharon was there. We were together for a week, and it was great.
I know, but I know what you mean. So because we were away and traveling a lot, the pod took a bit of a hit. So whenever I was setting up today, I was like, how do you set up again?
We tried to like do it together. We were like, this can be so easy because we're together. Let's just turn on the mics and the camera. I left one of the leads behind. We had probably the most productive week of our business. Would we call it
Possibly.
that ever?
Possibly,
Yeah, it was one of the most productive weeks of our business, because so much stuff is like done. Movie that we've just done, Overnight Entrepreneurs, complete. Our products are all complete. We were just like focusing on marketing and strategy and like our future. And we had like an amazing week. You know, it was great.
I know. And now, Matthew, you're zooming in from LA.
I'm in LA right now, so I'm out here for the next 3 months. I'm coming back from my mom's birthday. And then I'll be back out here. So I'm just getting settled back in, you know. It's great. I haven't really left the house. So I'm currently in my house right now. I'm one of my friends has a gorgeous house in LA, and he's renting it out, and I'm renting it off him. So here there's got a office, like an editing suite with an office that I've just been sitting in working. Sunset, sunrise. It's so perfect for what I'm doing right now. Like for where we're at, following on from everything that we done in London, this is like the best place for me to be. Like I couldn't be anywhere more perfect. And like for me to say in LA that I haven't been over the door. I went out last night to meet a friend, went for dinner, but to not even be over the door is weird.
You're back in your happy place, although you love London, right?
I have to admit, I absolutely loved London. I had a ball. We opened up a new office in Shoreditch. It's been open for a while, but I hadn't been in it yet. And it just was great, you know. It was good hanging out with the guys, getting to know everybody. It's been funny because it was so funny because Johnny pointed out, one of the guys who works with us, the guy who over there who deals with our office, whenever he met me, I came up, I was like, hi David, how's things? I'm Matthew. And he went, oh, my favorite new client, in a really, really sarcastic, patronizing like voice. Johnny kind of looked at me and was like, what did he mean by that? And I was like, yeah, I've been a bit of a nightmare.
He's like, what have you done? How have you managed
Johnny's
to
like, what have
havoc?
you done? You've only met him like once. But anyway, no, we end up getting on great, and then just had to book everybody and do all that kind of stuff. So it was great. It's been brilliant. What else was I going to say to you? What was your highlight for London? What did you love the most?
I know we're not allowed to talk about it because we always go on about it, but I think there's several things, but the weather ultimately made it, you know, It was gorgeous. We were obviously in the office through the day, but in the evening we had chill time, and we had walks in and out, and just walking out in that heat, getting the sun for 40 minutes before you get in, getting the sun when you get out, you know, it was just beaut. And then aside from that, what I love about London is just the variety of things that you can do. You know, you can come out your door, walk left or north, south, east or west, and you will arrive somewhere that is class. It's got its own wee quirky vibe. And the transport, I always love London transport because you're never too far away from anywhere, and it's minutes before it comes. I just loved it all.
Yeah.
Obviously we done, one of the shows in Camden for our 10-year anniversary. Bankhouse
Oh, we
Media,
turned
that
10.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
turned
turned
10
10.
as well. Yeah.
And that was so different and just so cool. It was like a Cirque du Soleil meets dancers meets like
It was
I
like a
don't know.
rave. It was like a
Yeah.
rave meets Cirque du Soleil meets like, it was really, really good fun. If anybody follows me on social media, I set a London highlight, and there's loads of things on there that you can see from that. I loved every minute of it as well. And we stayed in Hackney Central, so we end up just like walking in and out of work through London Fields into Shoreditch and through Broadway Market. And I don't know, I have to admit I absolutely loved it. And I've been very lucky this past while. I left Japan and I could have stayed longer. I left Chicago, I could have stayed longer. I've left London, I could have stayed longer. I left Belfast and was delighted. Even whenever I was in Portugal, I kind of left early. I don't even think we talked about Portugal. Oh, we did do a podcast after Portugal. And then got to LA just at the right time, So I'm going back to London for a month in December and I can't wait. Not that I can't wait. It's going to be
When are you
cold
going
and
back,
snowy,
sorry?
but December. I'm coming home for my mom's birthday, and then we're having a 70th birthday, and then I'm going to go to London from pretty much the last week of November till Christmas.
I might try and get over again in September towards the end for a couple of nights.
Do go there. Like, you should work half out of that office and half out of Belfast, because like it is great. I was out with one of my friends last night for dinner, and we were talking about business, and the ups and downs of running your own business. And all over the years, she's been in business for like 17 or 18 years. Her business is extremely successful. Made millions and millions, and then some other times it's slowed down and hasn't, and she had a real spike again. But I was saying, we had a brilliant week last week, and the one thing was we were all in the office together. And I said, I really don't want to admit that, because I don't want to have to be in the office all together. Because we all live like such different lives,
I know. This is the thing. Like the world is now like a hybrid of, remote working and office working.
Yeah.
So like I don't think it's needed full time, but it is good to get those wee bursts, in.
Oh, it was brilliant.
So
yeah.
I think that's the happy balance. But
and the show was brilliant. I couldn't tell you what it was called though.
It's called a random name. I know. I couldn't
Yeah,
tell
we'll have to follow up with that. We also had some amazing food. We ate non-stop.
Yeah, that's also what I love about London.
I've pretty much been fasting since I got back here. I haven't even been to the gym yet. I haven't done anything like.
Well, you call that fasting, right? But I was speaking to one of our clients today, and she is in Sicily, and she's on a fast, but for 10 days.
Why? Why is she in Sicily fasting? It's the best food in the world.
I know. Well, she's just bought a house over there, so she's over there at the minute, and she can work remotely. But she was telling me, I said the exact same thing. She was like, "I'm fasting for 10 days." I was like, "You picked Italy for your 10-day fast?" I was like, "No."
I would love to do that. I would love to do a 10-day fast, but I don't think I can do it.
She got a bit shaky on apparently like day 3 or something, or 4. It's a bit iffy, but then after that, and she can't wait for then. But she said as well, it's for health reasons, but she also said that it's also like a gratitude thing because, and actually this will lead us on to our podcast topic, when the time comes that she is eating again and she's enjoying that amazing food, like she's going to really, really enjoy it. She hasn't had it. And if you're out eating it every day, although yes, you love it, but, it's always there, it's always available, you take it for granted. So yeah, she's looking forward to that.
You really do, you do take it for granted. I haven't. I just went out, got my shopping, and just got loads of like boring food, loads of broccoli and sweet potato and chicken and eggs, and that's all I'm eating now for the next wee while.
Back in the
and
health
then just
kick.
back into the gym this week. I'm taking like a full week off. Feel like my body can need it. We were doing 25 to 30,000 steps a day in London, and it was intense.
That reminds me of something, and I'm going to say it on this podcast so that I'm holding myself accountable. I'm joining a gym.
Oh, very good.
Join it this week. Joining it
Which
this week,
one?
that's step 1, right? And then next week's when it starts, so I'm easing myself into the process.
Which one are you going to? Which one are you going to go to?
I'm just going to go to the Pure Gym because it's open 24 hours. It's 10 minutes away. So you can just do it whenever you want.
Very good. Brilliant. I love Pure Gym. I actually, again, I was in the one in Shoreditch and I was in the one in Belfast. It was great. It's so handy. And that's the thing. Whenever you go back over to London, then it's right beside our office. You can just go over in the middle of the day. And it's good. The offices have like showers and all that kind of stuff. So you can just get like ready then in the office.
Yeah. So that's a plan. I'm held accountable now. I've told everybody.
Yeah. Brilliant. What else is going on? I've been so productive since I came here. I'm in the final throes of the book. It's going really, really well. And I don't know, let's what is the podcast topic today? Because I could talk all day about all the stuff that's going on that's really good and boring the crap out of people.
Today, mindset, we are going for balancing ambition and contentment. So this is kind of a big one, because obviously in business we're wanting to be ambitious, and kind of then the opposite of that is kind of being content. So really, to explain it, like, what's the difference? So the ambition is the desire to do something, bigger, and then contentment is being kind of happy with what you've got, like, in a nutshell. So they're kind of two different things, but equally both really important, and they kind of almost conflict with each other in a way, because of those differences. But it's talking through what they both are, kind of the downsides to both of them, and then how to navigate through that so that you can kind of get a healthy balance, because you need both. Would you say you're more ambitious or more content?
Ambitious.
See, I would say I'm more content. I actually, when I was doing the research for this, I was thinking, I think although trying to get the balance, I think a lot of people are kind of swaying more one way or the other, I'm
definitely more balanced than what I've ever been. Like, and contentment, like, I'm so grateful for everything. Like, so I don't think that's contentment. I think it's like, I'm very grateful for everything that's happened. I'm very grateful for what I have, for the life that I have, travel, countries, sun, like, enjoying all that. I'm very grateful. Am I content with everything all the time? Probably not. I'm always striving. I've always got something on. Like, I've got a new documentary series on that's way outside my ambition point. It's the biggest project that we've ever done, and I'm excited about it, but I kind of love that. I love the challenge. I love the fact that we're in the middle of getting letters of intent right now. I love the fact that we're in the first phases of raising money. Like, if I was content with Bankhouse, I could just work in Bankhouse for the rest of my life and I'd have an extremely good life. That, like, the business does, like, everything that I already have, I would not have to change a single thing. I don't have to chase another film project. I don't have to do anything. I could live in LA, live in Portugal, live anywhere I want. Sometimes I do ask myself, why am I not content with that?
But yeah, well, that's the thing. It's not saying you definitely have to get a 50-50 balance, but it's being aware of them, because some people will be so over ambitious that they end up. So if you're someone who's so over ambitious and you don't have like a good kind of healthy balance between the two, then you're going to find yourself more kind of stressed out, and you're going to probably find yourself that you're not actually, because ambition is like go, 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 go. So if you're not kind of balancing that out, you're going to think, if you're always going and you're always creating a new go without really being mindful of it, you end up then thinking that you've not done anything and you're never really happy with what you've got. And then you start getting all sorts of problems, because you're not kind of taking a moment to kind of go, okay. And then also, and we talk about this all the time, you're not then ensuring that you're being ambitious for the right reasons or going after the right things. So if you just constantly do that, you could end up in a position where, yes, you're overly ambitious and that's great, but really you haven't achieved anything that you want to. And, you're sitting there going, oh crap, what have I done? And then on the opposite of that, if you're just totally content all the time and you're not a little bit ambitious or whatever amount ambitious, what you're probably going to find is that you are kind of a bit stuck and you lack progression and nothing really kind of changes. And unfortunately, we don't live in that world anymore. Things change. So even if you think in a business sense or a personal sense of your work and your job, you might be content in that and content with your salary. But the way that the world is changing now, prices are constantly going up. So you need to kind of get your wages up. There's loads of different things that it's very difficult to just sit there and be content with things, especially as well with, obviously now we've got, social media and we're comparing ourselves to everybody, and so there's definitely cons to being over ambitious and cons to being over content, and that's what we want to try and talk about, is just trying to like get a good
I probably have more balance now than what I had before. Like I probably got more balance definitely now than what I did have.
You can weigh it up on a big scale and even a wee scale in terms of ambition and content. And I'm just thinking of something stupid, because whenever we were at that show in London, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, what happens is this big thing of rain comes down and covers you and gets you soaked. And it was kind of a daytime show, right? And in my head, if anyone who knows me personally knows that I cannot, and I cannot stress this enough, cannot get my hair wet, because
she's an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, see, when we got to London, she was like, okay, where's the hairdryer? What does it have? Where is it? I need to leave. I can't, like, literally wouldn't wash her hair for like 4 days because she couldn't locate a nozzle for a hairdryer. I'm like, Sharon, wash your bloody hair.
I couldn't.
It's fine.
I couldn't.
I used to be like that as well, though, in fairness.
So when it's longer, you can just hook it up, right? That's fine, but you can't. It's impossible. Anyway, I was like going. It caught us out of the unawares. I didn't know that was happening. We knew that the sun was shining, and after that gig, we were going to go out and walk around Camden and have gorgeous lunch and everything. And in that moment, I was like, right, I'm content with just enjoying that show, and then leaving with nice hair, and then not stressing out for the rest of the day. And then I had to weigh it up in my head as well, and I was like, when am I ever in a room having just had that experience and now having this experience where all of this is coming down to me, and so the ambitious side of wanting to just experience something new and doing all of that kind of, so I was weighing it up like within seconds, kind of going, right, okay, you're going to have shit hair for like a couple of hours, but you're never getting this again, so let's just be content with having shit hair, because at the end of the day, what does it actually bloody matter?
Yeah.
And then I was like, go, and I got soaked.
I know, and you had a good time.
I did.
I'm just trying to work it out in a way where it like is relatable to me, because I there's an element of like where I do have contentment, I think, like with where everything's at right now, but I will always strive for more. What is that guy? He has this quote. It's a guy, Christian Guzman. He's got it written all over his walls. I think it's something but never satisfied. I don't know, whatever it is. He's always working towards something anyway. He's really, really over ambitious. I think the days of me being really over ambitious, I want like I could be achieving more. I could definitely be achieving more. I could be working on more projects. I could be doing different things, but I actually focus on the lifestyle balance now. I like the fact that I have my own time to myself. I like the fact that, I work in different time zone and I have a lot of time to work on different projects. So I think in that way, like I have contentment. Whereas whenever I first started out 10 years ago, if someone had said to me, like I said no more to projects. I said no more to business ideas now. Whereas if I was just like not content and need to have more money, need to have my name out there, need to do all this, I actually think that I'm ambitious, but I'm really, really content. I think that I actually am both.
That's good though, because that's the thing. That's what you want. You want the both. Like I always... And I think it's a really hard task to like achieve. Like I remember my dad, that was one thing I admired most about my dad. He didn't really have, anything, like he had ill health, so he wasn't really able to work. He had that his whole life. He was born with a heart condition and had MS. But so he didn't really have the same abilities that we had to go out and, earn this and go here and travel there, because it was all based on what could accommodate him, and his health conditions and what he could afford and all of that. So he lacked a lot more of the ability to do and see a lot more that we could. But at the same time, he was so content, with just having putting money away to be able to afford that trip one day, or, having his family around him. It was small things that just made him happy. And he was just so... there was no, there was no ambition in him at all, so he didn't actually nail the whole balance thing, but he nailed being content. And I've never met anyone yet. There's loads of people out there, but that I have met that has just been so happy with what they've got, because at the same time as well, you know, whenever, and we'll talk about the benefits of both of them now because it is important to have both, but, you know, for him, you know, there's kind of an inner peace with that, you know, that you
Oh
can
yeah, big
just,
time.
you're just
Oh,
like,
like
oh,
there's
I'm
times I think
calm,
like
and just,
there's
oh,
times that I think, God, I wish I wasn't so ambitious, you know, because I'm always striving for things and looking for things. You know, I was thinking to myself, like I would. Is there a way that I could be more content or have more contentment? Um, you know, my dad as well, like, is pretty content. You
yeah, your
know,
ones are quite good too.
no, my mom's not. She's like, I want a new kitchen, need a new staircase, need a new thing. This house is awful. This house, like my mom's house, is like a show house,
That
twenty
wasn't
four
me,
seven.
Christine. That was him who said that. Just a
Yeah,
coincidence.
my mom's house is like an actual show house. You could walk in. It used to look like a Laura Ashley magazine. It changes over the years. And my mom will say, this house is absolutely awful. I need to get this changed and that changed. And I'm like, Mom, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. And I always think, God, I wish she would have a bit more contentment and, you know, enjoy the house. You know, well, she does. She does enjoy it now. She really, really enjoys it. But enjoy it even more. And maybe that's where I get it from. Maybe I should be being a bit more content and just enjoying what, you know, even though I do enjoy what I've already got. So
I
it's weird.
think
What would you rather be?
content.
Okay, I would rather be ambitious.
So
Big time.
interesting. You see, for
If
me,
I had
like
if I had
now,
to take out
oh yeah,
if I had to take away ambition and like replace it with content, I'd be party over.
oh,
I
I'd
couldn't
be
do
the
it.
opposite. I'd be like, so all I'm doing is
No.
trying to get something and I'm never content. What's the point?
Well, mine is not like I'm never trying to like get something for
No, but I'm
myself.
saying if
Mine
you
is
make, if you have to choose one.
well, my ambition is around like it's always been around helping other people. Like, well, not always, but it has been in the past like 15 years. It's always been like, how can I positively affect other people? You know, it's always been like that my whole life, but actually with real intent. I'm like, because whenever I looked, we're 10 years in business, and thank you very much for everybody who's played their part, worked in Bankhouse, worked with us, clients that came through. But whenever we were having dinner, I was like just talking about it's mad because I had was very, very over ambitious whenever I started. And I always have this quote where it's like we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10. And I was out of my mind, outrageously over ambitious, right? But my goal at that time was like how to help as many people as possible. And if you look at like all the clients that we've worked with, all the people who's watched our movies, all the people who's worked with us, and how the ripple effect, if we help one company, right, and they have 100 clients, we've helped all those 100 clients of
Yeah.
theirs, you know, and what has that product or service helped them that moves on. So I always look at like the ripple effect. And so if I was to change that and stop being ambitious, stop helping other people, stop like aggressively going after that to be content for myself, then yeah, I would be like, I couldn't do that.
Well, that's the
But
whole
if I
thing,
was,
isn't it?
but
It's
if I
like
was doing it,
both.
but if I was doing it just to have like 1 million followers on Instagram, to have me out there like in a magazine, to have like, see if I was doing it for myself, for my own ego, I would lose my mind. I wouldn't do it.
And
I could not do that. Whereas like everything that I'm doing is like for like other people in a ripple effect in a way, and that's what it makes it so enjoyable. Whereas like sometimes we're working with influencers, as you know, and it's like so like insanely self-obsessed. And I come off the call sometimes and feel really sorry for their situation because if I was like that, I couldn't get up in the morning.
I know, like that's a difficult fair play to any influencers out there because you know that is hard work because
I know.
you're
Can I
constantly
just
putting
say
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say that? Like I didn't mean anything about
Oh
them
no,
as a
no.
person. The thing is what they are actually doing is they are they've got their name, their face, their everything is their business.
I
So
know.
depending on how many likes they get, totally reflects on how much business they do. It's this like vicious cycle,
And that's
you know.
a good example.
I don't know
On
how
this
to do
whole
it.
kind of balancing thing because you know they're ambitious and that's what they're doing and that's their career and that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is. I would say that would be a hard one to kind of master the balance there because you know really as an influencer, yeah, you are kind of selling yourself, you know, and you're putting yourself out there, like your body,
I
100%,
know.
your
And there's
words,
you know,
everything,
yeah.
and it's basically you. So you know to try and then what you're asking for in return is engagement on you And if
Yeah.
you're not getting that, and if you are, there's trolls and everything, like that's so mentally challenging to try and, you know, block out the horrible stuff and focus on the good stuff. And I know that's the same with lots of things in life, but I would say, especially when it comes to being online, you know, that's
Yeah.
that would be quite tricky.
I've had full-blown debates about my own movies, right? Where people have said, oh, Matthew, I didn't really like that because I'm not into horror films, or, hey, that subject matter was a bit much. And you can debate it. You can say, well, here's where we were coming from and here's what the director meant. And like there's other people at fault. Yeah, we were limited because our camera budget, you know, we didn't have much money in that. Okay, this was going for this and that. But whenever you're actually the influencer and someone says, yeah, I didn't like that. You're like, what do you mean, my nose? Like,
Yeah,
are you
me
talking about like
as a
you talking
person?
about my physique? Are you talking about, you know, what do you mean you didn't like it? Like, yeah, I didn't think that one didn't look too good. And I'm like, but it's me. Like, what, you know what I mean? So I do feel really, really sorry for anybody that has to put themselves out and do that. But with great like stresses like that comes great reward. Some of them make like a fortune, you know, just by working remotely from their phone, and the opportunities are amazing. They get like hotels free, food free, like all those things for free. For me, the trade-off is not there. Like, I know we put ourselves out here with this podcast, and we put ourselves out there a little bit, but it doesn't pay our wages. Like, we have other business interests that actually pay us. Like, if we were to stop this podcast, nothing really changes in our lives. You know, if we were to totally come offline and just run under a brand, Bankhouse, nothing changes in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a really, really nice and reassuring. And I think that maybe has give me a level of contentment that, you know, I don't have to be in London. I don't have to be in Belfast. I can be out here being ambitious, doing other projects while everything in my life moves along nicely and doesn't change. It doesn't need me.
I know.
You know?
But this is the thing, like this is why I sway towards contentment. It's because to me, you know, if you're when you're content, you're kind of in the present, you're in your now, and you're accepting your now. And I just think then I do think like people, including myself, you know, don't really spend enough time being grateful and in this present moment, you know, because the minute you're ambitious, you're not here, you're thinking ahead, you know, and that's one of the things that kind of really kind of puts me, and it's to do with anything. Like, we talk about it all the time, and I'm the worst in the world for it. I was the one that brought it up today, you know, the weather shit, right? Okay, well, that's not being content, is it? You know, be content with the fact that you have a house, you can enjoy it, you can chill, watch a wee movie.
You can be grateful for that and want more. Look, this is how you do it. This is how you actually be ambitious and content at the same time. Very easy. You can work on like being present right now. Like last night, whenever I was out with my friend, I didn't have my phone on. It was on airplane mode, was in my pocket, you know, and I was very present and very in the moment and very grateful to see her, meet her friends, like sit down, have some food, like really get to know people around me and engage with people, like, because they just live 5 minutes away from where I live now. And it was really, really nice to meet new people. But whenever I wake up this morning and I get a deck that I have to look at for a project, like I'm fully in that moment. I'm like, let's change this, let's change that. Whenever then I go through another email about the book, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want changing this, and this is what we need to take out. Whenever I'm on this podcast with you, I'm sitting listening to you and very in it. Like this, you have to be able to master being present. And that is being present with your partner, your children, your projects, your job, your driving, your podcast, your whatever you're doing at that moment, totally commit to being in it at that time, and then switch off. So I could not switch off. My mum and dad at the start of the business, whenever we would have went out in Dublin or they would have come down to see me, they said, Matthew, turn your phone off. Like we're with you, came down to spend 3 days with you, and you're actually on your phone the whole time. And I'm like, well, I can't. It's only a new business. I could have. That call wasn't going anywhere. I could have rang them back the next morning, but I didn't think that at the time. So just don't be afraid to like turn your phone off and just be like, do you want to know what? I'm actually just going to sit this one out. I'm really engaged. I was talking to Daniel this morning. I was like, what did you get up to last night? He's like, just read.
I love that.
Do you know, he just, because he's like, turn off his phone, didn't engage with anything and just read all night.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's
I
the thing. It's like, I switched off the other day and was like, I'm going to watch crime drama for the whole day. Like I'd said that for like to use the whole week. I was like, as soon as I get to LA, it's like the first thing I'm doing on Sunday is getting my shopping in and just watching crime documentaries all day. And that's what I end up doing.
Yeah, you need a wee
you
day like
know?
that. Well, that is the thing, and there's some tips to kind of try and get the kind of the balance, and you're kind of touching on them there. Before I go into the tips, so here's the reasons why it's important for both. Ambition will help you achieve all the goals that you want. It's going to help you grow personally and professionally. It's going to increase, your motivation to do things and do more and get out and experience. And it's going to increase your confidence ultimately. Like, there's so many things that come from ambition. So it is so important to put to bring elements of that into your life if you're not yet doing that. And then on the other side, for contentment, we've kind of touched on them already. It's like that inner peace and inner calm with what you've got, and kind of being present, in that moment. And with that, you kind of get a bit of like, I think they say something that creates like, resilience and acceptance, which then creates ultimately, happiness, because you're not thinking you're not getting something that you need, and then ultimately that has a knock-on effect too. They both do actually to your health, both physical and mental. So there's definite benefits to both of them. It's just not being over ambitious and not being over content. If that is, to me, it sounds weird saying that, but if I don't know how you could be content like 100% without having a bit of ambition. So I think, the balancing act. In terms of how to try and balance both of them, if you're struggling with one or the other, we were looking into this earlier, and you kind of touched on some of it there, Matthew. It's like, with the ambition thing, like, set realistic goals. Don't just go after everything and anything, and just for the sake of wanting, and goals that align with, your values. Like, we always talk about that. If your value is just solely money orientated, I don't know if that's really, the best kind of, it can be part of your goal, but if it's your sole purpose is to be here and making millions, well, look at all the celebrities and rich people who are so loaded and so unhappy. So like
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, they seem to be going through the horrors right now. Do you know, I've just written a book, right? It's called The Evolution of Success. It's going to be coming out later this year. And I am working on this at the minute. Obviously, I've got dyslexia, so a lot of it is done through audio, and then it's going with like someone transcribing my words. They're all my words, every single one of them. And then obviously Daniel, my business partner, he's a writer. That's what he does. So he's like, he knows everything about every part of the business. So we're working really, really well as a team. There's me and Daniel and Jarrett. And it's pretty much I'm sitting audio and all, and then we're going back and forth. And then I'm actually jumping in and tweaking it with writing, and then they're going in to fix all the spelling mistakes. But it would be classified as a self-help book, right? But I can't. I've really, really enjoyed doing this. It's not in a self-help way where it's like, here, I've got the answers and here's what you have to do. It's talking about literally the most difficult times of my life and the hardest times. I actually got really emotional yesterday going over a part of it, because people don't realize like how difficult it is to sort of be ambitious, and to put yourself out there. And people slip into contentment because they can't handle the fear of rejection, the risk that you take, and all of those different things. That is actually what the problem is. And I sort of have written this book to encourage people to take the risk and go for it, because whenever I look back, even though it was the most difficult times of my life, and I've been really, really honest, and reading back, people are going to say, why are you telling people this? Why are you telling people like what was really going on? Because you don't need to do that. But one of the reasons why I did is because for me, it's a bigger risk not taking the jump outside contentment and stepping outside your comfort zone.
Well, and that's the thing, because but it's not don't be ambitious. It's be ambitious, but have a balance and understand what the difference between ambition and if you just go about it blindly and don't really have kind of goals around your ambitions, well, you're never going to feel that you truly achieved anything. So I didn't meet that goal. I'm just always trying to get something else. If you'd done that all the time, you would be miserable, because you'd be like, well, what the hell have I actually done? You're just constantly trying to get something. Whereas, set the goals, take the risks, be ambitious, but then also another task is to then practice, which you mentioned earlier, gratitude to that, acknowledge what you've achieved, no matter how big and how small. Like, sit in that moment and acknowledge those wins and what you've done and what you've learned, and just practice being grateful for those things. So you can still go after them, but just reflect on them and know that you done a good job, or that you're still moving in the right direction. And something that I read that I thought was quite good too is like the word ambitious, the way we're talking about it, like it's not a negative thing, it is a positive thing. But I think when you're talking about it like being ambitious to over ambitious, if you're talking about it like that, I think sometimes as well what people do is just go after the end goal, and so and this isn't you, so they're just constantly, they've got a target on that and they're running towards it, but they're not even taking the time to enjoy the process. So you're writing your new book, and the end goal is the book, but you're enjoying these moments. You're grateful for this, you're happy about doing this, and that's fulfilling. So it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey too, that sometimes really overly ambitious people will forget or not acknowledge because they're not at that goal yet. That's not you, by the way.
Oh, like I can remember a friend of mine said, oh, I'm going to be really happy once I have my apartment in town, and I have my 3-bedroom apartment, and somewhere for my son to come and stay, and somewhere for this. And I can remember saying to him, like, so you're going to be happy when that happens? Like, so you're not going to be happy now? It's like standing on the street and saying, whenever I get to that lamppost, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
You're like, could you not, like, what about if you skip over to the lamppost, or you dance down to it, or you walk down and you're thinking about something nice? So you're not going to be happy until you get to that lamppost, or you're not going to be happy when you reach this. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you got to really, really embrace the moment of every day, and you got to like appreciate that you're alive, that you're, that you're here, that that kind of thing. That's kind of where I'm at the minute. And I'm not like saying people should, I'm telling people to do it. Like, you got to really embrace like where you're at right now, even in the darkest days.
Yeah. Like, and this kind of relates to everything. I'm just thinking about it there now when you talked about the lamppost. A lot of people, right, are getting married, and whenever they're getting married, they're thinking, not everyone, but a lot of them, oh, I want the big white wedding. I want everything. It's going to be 50 grand, 60 grand, 70, whatever. Everyone's invited, da 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 da. This is going to cost me so much money. I actually can't even afford that, but I'm going to, get a loan, pay for all this, get myself into debt, but it's the best day of my life. And you're like, right, okay. So you're being over ambitious because you can't afford it, right? And if you work out a payment plan, that's fine, that you can afford when you've got X amount of spare income in your every month. But technically, if you're on the line and you're just about spending, able to afford that loan for that wedding, you were over ambitious. Put the wedding off.
Can you imagine the come down? Can you imagine the come down from that?
That's what I mean. So put the wedding off
you'd be
until
divorced.
And you know what? Most people that I know, like, they're all doing that, but because that's the pressure. Because this is another thing when it comes to finding the balance is, don't compare yourself to others. Stop looking at what other people are doing and just focus on what it is that you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it. Because you could have that amazing wedding, but it'll be in 5 years' time whenever you've saved up the money. Or you can actually be content with a smaller wedding.
If you
and
really,
an
really
day.
love somebody and you want to do it, you just like go get married and that's it, That's the thing. Like, I've been at the biggest weddings ever, and I don't think there's any of them still together. Well, no, there is. My best mate Remo, he's been married and happily for years. But other ones that I've been to, they're all divorced. They hate each other now. They actually hate each other, and I'm like, really? I like spent so much money traveling to your wedding, flying
You're
there,
fuming.
staying there, and then I'm like, you now hate each other?
You're sending an invoice over.
Thanks.
You're like,
yeah. Why'd I give you a wedding present? Do you know what I mean?
But I
think it's funny,
like,
but this is the thing. I've actually made a thing where I'm trying not to go to anybody's wedding anymore. If you're my friend, you're listening to this, like,
don't invite him because he's
the
not
invite.
going. Oh, you do?
I still wouldn't. Like, I mean, it's nice to be invited. No, I'm joking. I don't know, like, weddings that I don't think are going to last, I mightn't go.
Yeah, well, is the stat not now like they're over 50%, like over more 50% than 50% of get divorced. So
I was
just
on,
think about that for that one.
Yeah, I was on like I'm obviously back, in LA, back dating. Got a message from somebody yesterday, and on their profile, right, they had a photograph, and it was the stats of the divorce percentages.
Gag.
And I'm like, oh my god, look, we're
That's
putting
so
that out
funny.
there. Bit
But
intense for the first impression.
Hiya. Well, I think they're clearly saying they're not wanting to be married, I'm guessing.
They want to be married, but
Oh, they do?
they don't have high hopes for it
Oh,
lasting.
okay.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. It's not just about, this whole balancing act comes into everything, like especially big life choices like getting married, like having a house. Okay, you want the detached house, but really, is that going to set you back? And what, are you over ambitious with that? And could you be content with the smaller house, more money every month to make, experience these things? I think the whole thing is, just about making, like, just being aware of it and making, like, decisions, like conscious decisions that actually support what you really want and need, and stop being over ambitious, Matthew. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I will always be a bit over ambitious, but it'll be like, I was a bit over ambitious this week. So I've been trying to work out the new coffee machine. Do you ever get that? Well, for me, I travel all the time, so I go to a different house all the time. I'm always like moving in and out of places, which is going to be ending in January. I'm going to be settled in one place, which is going to be exciting. You know what I mean? Because I've been traveling now for 5 years, living in serviced accommodation, and I'm settling down in January. But every time I go to a new house, right, there's
where are you settling though?
I'm going to be in LA. It's in LA. That's what I'm doing right now at the minute. I'm finding somewhere. I've been getting on the what do you call that? The credit score buzz. So I've had to get myself like on the credit score so I qualify for like getting, I have loads of things I have to do, like where I'm buying a house, buying a car, doing all those things. But in America, you can't really just jump in unless you're doing everything cash, which, is not possible whenever you're living in California because it's so expensive. So I have had to like go like a long route of like getting my credit score onto because it's hard because, I'm European. So I've been working on all that. But whenever I ended up coming into someone's house, it's like, or coming into a property that haven't been in, you always like get the coffee machine, and it's always hard to know like when you've sort of put too much coffee in or too little. Have you ever got that before? Because it's all like filtered coffees.
Yeah, you're doing.
So I got new coffee yesterday, and I end up like completely and utterly wired off the side of my head. Nuts. Like it's impossible to not be over ambitious whenever you're over caffeinated.
Well, actually, we'll add that to the balance in both. Like, don't drink too much caffeine.
I was off caffeine for 5 years, and then I ended up getting addicted to primes, which I've been off now for like 5 months.
But are you not loving the coffee? Like, I don't know.
I'm loving the coffee again.
Like, I only have 2 a day at most. But see, without that first one in the morning, I don't know if I could actually start my day.
I love it. I love the buzz of it. Yeah, I love the buzz of it as well. It's great.
One thing you've just reminded me of, it's totally separate, but because we're talking about American coffee, the kind of the filter coffee things, they can buy them over here, but nobody really uses them. We just use the kettle.
Yeah.
And just make the coffee as you go. Well, before we actually had one of those filtered machines, and it was amazing because you'd done it the night before and had a wee timer on it, and you put the timer on for it to like start brewing your coffee. So when you woke up in the morning, your coffee was just made and the room smelt of gorgeous coffee. And now you've inspired me to kind of get that back. That's what
this is. This house is like so like,
technical.
Technical. There's an Alexa in the bathroom. They're everywhere. Like they're in the bathroom.
What for? Alexa flush the toilet.
Lights, like I don't know if the coffee machine's linked to it or not, but I would imagine it probably is. It's got one of those brewer timer things. Everything is connected to everything. The TVs are like 80-inch. There's loads of things. Like you'd need a degree to use the remote, but like Peter has left me like bang, 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 like every single thing that I need to do. Like, and he's been absolutely amazing. And it is great because it's like locked in, getting all the stuff done, just getting everything moving.
That sounds like an ambitious house there that you're in.
Over ambitious, yeah. It's achieving a lot.
It is achieving a lot.
It's definitely not content. That's one thing. It wants more. Yeah. Which suits where I'm at right now. Yeah, it suits exactly where I am right now.
That's the thing. It's important
because the
to
thing
have
is,
both.
and another note on that, right, just about being like, don't be afraid to be over ambitious. Like, I'm 10 years in business, and honestly, I feel like it's day one. Like, I feel like I got up this morning like it was day one.
Okay, right. You say that. That's good. But if you're overly ambitious and you're just overly ambitious, right, all the time, something happens to you, you die, and you actually weren't even happy at all because you were just overly ambitious and not taking a moment to appreciate and be content with what you've got.
Oh no, I'm totally happy waking up like in
No, I'm just saying, that's why it's important
like
to have both.
If somebody's overly ambitious and then doesn't actually go on to achieve anything, they're just like overwhelming themselves 24/7 and they don't actually achieve anything that they can enjoy, then that's also a problem. Again, one of the reasons why I wrote the book, there is a formula to it, in my opinion. You have to like do certain things. It's not just about like wishing for it and it comes into your life. You have to get up, take action and move towards things. There is things I've had to do, like, yourself, I've made major sacrifices, like giving up alcohol, stepping away from certain friend groups, like spending time on my own whenever I didn't really want to, but I had to because I knew what I had to do to get contentment.
Yeah.
For me, my contentment comes with like my sobriety, my like dealing with addictions, dealing with like, stresses, making sure that everybody's paid, like whenever it was difficult times financially back in the day, there was all those things happening whenever I didn't have the resources and things. So, I mean, I'm so content now because I don't have to deal with any of those things anymore. It's on a different level.
I would actually say, just thinking about it, a lot more people would find it easier to be ambitious than they would to be content.
You can have both. I have both.
Yeah.
And I think you have more both than not. It's just because you've got everything you want right now. But, at one point you didn't have the house, you have the car that you had and you strive for it. So, I mean, I think you're just like, I think you still are ambitious,
Yeah. No, I think I learned a lot of, lessons along the way. Like I'm 38, but, still like you do learn. And I think as you get older, you kind of, you're able to kind of manage them a bit more, a bit better. And that's just through lessons I learned. I went on holidays I couldn't afford. I went and got things I couldn't afford. I hung out with people or did things that didn't really want to do. And it was all just based on me just kind of, not thinking about really what it was that I wanted and what I could actually have, and also appreciating what I did have. Just taking things for granted all the time. And I try so hard, not to do that now. Like as you get older too, you learn that life isn't always, it's not always guaranteed. And I just think when you learn them lessons and you see them and you experience them in front of you with people that you love and that are close to you, I just think that helps kind of sway you a little bit, and helps you kind of refocus. And that's, I guess, one of the benefits of getting older and learning those things. Not all, like younger people go through it too, but that's definitely how I think was able to get a bit more content, but still have the drive to want nice things, and experience nice things and all of that,
Well, I think that's like the perfect balance.
Well, some people don't have it.
I know, and then you can also just be like, I don't need to be overambitious because I can do it.
You can.
I can be overambitious for all of us.
You can be overambitious, right? And I'll be over content.
Yeah, it works out in balance, It works out really,
basically,
really good.
The takeaway is, ambitious people out there, find yourself a content partner, like business partner or partner. And then for the content ones, you find yourself an ambitious one, and then you'll work beautifully together. Yeah,
you work it out. That's exactly what you have to do. So, it's great. So we can leave it there. What time is it where you are?
Yeah, it's 5:55, and I have a call shortly, so I'll have to shoot.
It's 25 to 10. I'm going to have to work out. I don't think I'm going to go back to my previous gym. I'm going to look for a new one. There's a really, really nice one around the corner. Yeah, and there's another one, like, I need to ring. I was ringing Rachel the other day to ask her about it. It's a bit like CrossFit. It does classes. I don't know if I'm able for that.
Is it that new thing, High Rocks? Well, I think it's new because everyone's talking about it.
High Rocks is just like a new marketing strategy that's really, really good. It's like a new sort of CrossFitty thing, but they're all the same. They're all kind of the same, just high intensity workouts that want to kill you. You know?
Yeah,
I want to get back in. I want to get into swimming and get like a swimming coach.
That's a good workout. You should do that actually. That's
that's actually what I'm going to do today. That's what I'm going to do today actually.
Like, but actually, here's a negative, sorry, to being content. Like, I'm content with how shit my fitness is. So, like, I'm never going to be that fit. So I need to bring a bit of ambition into my fitness.
Right. Sharon is content with how fit her fitness is because she looks amazing. You shouldn't even have the body that you have. Like, I don't know how the hell you do it.
Thanks for that.
Unbelievable. Like, literally, I know you said you're 38. You said it first, like, but what 38-year-old wears a crop top confidently? Do you know what I mean? Sharon has her torso out at all times in London.
Like,
she's getting hit on left, right, and centre.
Roasting.
But you know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons. If your clavicles weren't currently showing, you'd freak out and you'd be in the gym straight away. So, yeah.
Very good.
I was out with one of my friends last night who looks absolutely amazing. She's been taking Ozempic. She told me, like, she's confidently says it. Like, she looks literally like 10 years younger than what she looks like she did whenever I met her, like 10 or 15 years ago.
And is there any negatives to this, or do we know yet, or what's the vibe?
I don't know. She said she's sort of coming to where she's content with her weight. I said, you're rapidly approaching size 6. What are you doing? And she's like, no, I'm going to stop now. And I was like, well, look. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
That's a good example as well. Being content, ambitious, size 0.
She's one of the most ambitious women that I've ever met. She's like really, 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 really ambitious. It's funny. That's why we get on so well, I think, you know. But yeah, so let's leave it there. We could talk all day. Thanks everybody for watching. I want to take this time again to say thank you so much for all the support over the past 10 years. Again, all of the people who have worked in Bankhouse Media, whether Bankhouse Productions, Bankhouse Media, Feature Film School, Mindset and Marketing Academy, SE Fit, like all of the businesses that we have done and the spin-offs that we have all had coming through this with business partners, partnerships, you know, all the staff that have actually worked through all of the hundreds, if not thousands of clients at this point. And it's unreal that all started with just me being like way too ambitious. And I'm really grateful on so many levels. I'm so thankful and so grateful. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. See you on the next one.
And we will see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.